So what does it take to connect with the right person and the right decision maker? Well, let's start by acknowledging that RIGHT is all relative. What's the perfect person for your company may be the complete opposite of what another company needs. So the way we figure out who the right person is for your company is we need to understand where you've been most successful in the past. Where you've been most successful in the past. And the way we'll typically understand that is by reading your reviews, your testimonials, your case studies, and we're looking for commonalities among what we see there. Is there a common geographic region that all your best clients are located in? Is there a certain company size where you tend to be most successful both during the sales and in the services delivery and retention and expansion, upsell, and digital word of mouth? Is there a certain size? I often call this Goldilocks, like what's too big? For most companies, you're looking at what's too big and what's too small. What company is so large that they're going to do what you do in-house, and what company is so small that they may not have the resources to afford what you do. So with understanding where you've been most successful, we're able to document an ideal client profile. So we understand geographically where our ideal client should be located. We understand their sizes, and then we'll typically have an idea of what industries they're located in, what business models, and industry becomes especially relevant in the mission critical or data center space, just like geography, because there's regulatory issues that come up, right? If you're in the EU, for sure, there's unique regulatory issues. If you operate within healthcare, financial services, there's a host of things that come up depending on where your ideal clients are located and what industries or business models they exist within. So once we have an ideal client profile, we can go about generating a target account list of a couple dozen, couple hundred, maybe a couple thousand companies that look similar to our best clients where we want more of those. And then within those companies, we need to figure out who the one or two most important kinds of people are that we need to be building relationships with. So we have an ideal client profile that's operating at the company level, and then at the individual level with who we need to be building relationships with, who's going to be on that decision committee. Those are buyer personas. And we're going to rank those buyer personas depending on which one is most important, which one is second most important, maybe even which one is third most important. So we'll call it like a primary, a secondary, and maybe a tertiary buyer persona. And when we get into the buyer personas, that's where we figure out what does this kind of person have in common with each other? What are their biggest goals? What are their biggest challenges? The job titles, the certifications, the conferences they go to, the publications they read, the YouTube channels, the podcasts, all that stuff. And once we know that, and we're able to segment into primary and buyer personas, primary and secondary buyer personas, we can build a strategy for educating and building trust with the most important stakeholders in these kinds of companies and the second most important stakeholders in these kind of companies. That's what it takes to really be successful at being able to identify and connect with the right person and the right decision maker. And we need to always keep in mind that they don't want to talk to someone from your sales team until they're very, very far along in their journey now. So in order for us to earn our way in that first 83% in awareness and consideration, we got to show up as a teacher, a consultant, a trusted advisor, a subject matter expert, or a thought leader. And the way we figure out what it is we need to be talking about, their own words, what we learn from doing the buyer persona research. And it's super important when you build your buyer personas, by all means, speak with veterans on your sales team, long-term employees who've been in this industry a long time. But I'd caution you that internal input should only be about 20% of what goes into the research. 80% of the research needs to come directly from the mouths of your buyer personas, either through in-person or video interviews, or if that's not feasible, at least looking at search and social footprint so we can understand in their own words what they care most about.